Hello, we're going to do our first tutorial that I've been promising you guys for the MiG-21. Get it loaded up here. We're going to do a tutorial on startup and takeoff. This will apply if you do automatic startup, manual startup. There's still a lot of switches you have to do if you do automatic. So either way, watch the video. Disclaimer, MiG-21 is still really a heavy work in progress. Electrical system is barely implemented. Hydraulics are barely implemented, just enough to matter. But there's still a lot of work to be done, a lot of 3D work. So yeah, this is the MiG-21, if you didn't know that. First thing we got to do is check our fuel. If you want to add fuel, whatever, it's easier to do it right away. If you have no drop tanks installed, this right here is 2,700 liters. That's important. Why is that important? Because our little fuel gauge right here has to be set manually. That's right, it isn't fancy like your Western airplanes. We do things by hand. So we set that manually. It'll deplete on its own, but it won't go up on its own. So we set that manually. Next thing we got to do is turn on the electricity. So I'm going to turn on our battery or external power supply. There's no external power supply simulated yet, whatever. We're going to turn on the AC generator, external power. So we get DC in both AC. Next thing, really important to do, the compass right here is gyro compass. It is not a fancy, always points you in the right direction. So first thing we have to do is align it. We align it by pressing and holding that down until our compass stops rotating. Rotate it about 10 degrees that way. Next thing we got to do, set our latitude. If you don't set your latitude, there'll be more drift and your compass will be more likely to go out in the middle of flight. So you have to realign it, and we'll go over realigning it later. In the middle of flight, it's pretty easy. If you don't know what your latitude is, GPS shows it, should show it. Maybe it doesn't show it. Oh yeah, it does right there. So we're at 44. If you're flying a lot of latitudes, you can adjust it in flight, pick a middle one, whatever, it doesn't matter. All right, next thing we're gonna do is actually start this sucker up. So we have service tank pump right here. We're going to flip that one on. That one allows fuel to flow from main into our accumulator. Very important. So we have that flipped up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to this side. Engine starting unit, firefighting equipment. Flip those up. Right here. Let's see if we have a good view. All right. We don't want cold cranking. We want engine start. Flip that up to engine start. The next thing we have to do is actually start the engine, unless I forgot something. You have two ways you can do this. You can zoom out really far, so you can press the button and look right here, or you can just use the S key. You're going to press and hold down S until this red light turns off. It's off. We're good to go. It's going to finish starting up the engine for us. If you are doing a auto start, this is the state that the plane would be in right now. There's still a lot of work to do, so let's go to our right panel. First thing we're going to do, now that we have our motor running, let's flip on our DC generator. Because we have fuel and tank group 1 and 3, we're going to flip those pumps on. If you didn't, you would see number 1 tank group empty, number 3 tank group empty. So we have all those switches on. Now let's go to this right here. You need to turn on your pump unit. You'll see this gauge pop up. See? Fancy. You want your radar altimeter. These are all related to your weapons. We'll go over those at a later date. These will slowly be getting implemented eventually. These will be getting implemented as well. They are all coded in. They just haven't been animated yet. I have a thing about making it work good before I animate it. All right. I have no idea where I'm going with this. There we go. Okay. So we have hydraulics on, radar altimeter on. Fuel pumps are on. We're started up. So we are ready to taxi. Let's go ahead and do that. Take our e-brake off. Start turning. One thing that is going to be implemented very soon with the pivot system, it's not going to show any air data between 0 and 50 or so. So watch out for that. You'll be taxiing but not knowing how fast you're going. Alright, so I'm not going to line up very well, because whatever. Do you want your gun sight on to help line you up? Gun sight, turn it on, boom. There are two switches here. There's one on the bottom that's hidden in cockpit view. This one turns on your fixed net. This one turns on your pipper. You can turn the alpha down on the fixed net right there, alpha down on the pipper with that one. And so I'm not lined up perfectly, but whatever. There's two things to know about flaps and gear. Let's do gear first. Gear handle cannot go up until you remove this bar. That is your only safety from not crashing into the ground by raising your gear prematurely. The next thing are the flaps. The flaps will start automatically. Flaps will start automatically retracting as you reach 500 to 550 kilometers per hour. You gotta watch out for that. If you need to set it to takeoff and it's in the up position or the landing position, but your button for takeoff is down, there's this little button right here you can press that just resets them. So landing, takeoff, and here we go, let's take off. You can operate this little bar with Control G. I usually do it once we're in the air. Oh, I'm gonna go mill thrust. When you're doing your thrust, there's a little tiny break between full mill thrust and afterburner. You'll notice with your throttle. Anyways, we're at 325, so we're gonna pull back to about 10 alpha. Gears are gonna come up. Raise our gears. Whoops. Alright. After your gears are raised, you need to return it to the neutral position. When your gears are raised, you use your internal air, and if you leave it in the raised position, you will not have brakes upon landing. Very bad. Alright, we're going to go ahead and lift our flaps up, and there you go, you're flying. And in our next video, we'll go over some flying basics, what the gauges mean, what to do, what not to do, and a couple peculiarities with the MiG-21. Thank you, thank you.